Available now. Link below.
In tonight's special report, we're peeling back the layers of a story that's been simmering at the edge of our national consciousness, threatening to boil over and redefine the very fabric of our republic. At the heart of this crisis is a question of responsibility and leadership, or the startling lack thereof. As millions of undocumented migrants continue to cross our borders, the current administration, led by President Biden and Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, insists on a narrative that absolves them of any blame. But is it as simple as they claim? With our nation's security and sovereignty at stake, the answers we're uncovering tonight might just shake the very foundation of the administration's stance. You won't want to miss the conclusions we draw in our final thought. Stay with us for a report that not only questions the status quo, but also demands accountability from those at the helm of our nation's future. Folks, before we dive deep into tonight's crucial report, let's talk about something that affects us all, our monthly bills. Just like the ongoing crisis at our border, where oversight and accountability seem to be slipping through the cracks, our utility bills are soaring to unprecedented heights. It's as if our energy costs are being managed with the same lack of foresight we're seeing in our national security. But here's a beacon of hope. In these trying times, a remarkable device that's bringing relief to thousands of American households. This compact energy-saving device not only helps to significantly reduce your electricity bills, but also optimizes your home's power usage, making it an indispensable tool in our fight against the greedy utility companies. Imagine the satisfaction of taking back control, much like the leadership we yearn for at our borders. Don't miss out on this opportunity to safeguard your budget. Visit don'twastepower.com today. Secure your device with an exclusive 65% off. Remember, it's don'twastepower.com. Take a stand against unnecessary spending and be prepared for what's ahead. In an era where accountability seems to be a forgotten concept, the situation at our southern border stands as a stark reminder of the consequences of neglect. Under the Biden administration, led by Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, America has witnessed an unprecedented surge in undocumented migrants. This crisis is not just a statistic, it's a clear signal of a leadership vacuum that's left our borders virtually unguarded. The narrative spun by Mayorkas and Biden suggesting they bear no responsibility for the crisis is not only misleading, but also detrimental to our very fabric of our national security. The facts speak louder than their deflections. Since the inception of Biden's open border policies, the influx of migrants has skyrocketed, overwhelming our border security and immigration systems. The claim that this situation stems from a broken system that predates their tenure ignores the explosive increase in numbers that coincided with their policies.
Let's move on to what's happening on Capitol Hill. House Republicans are planning to vote for a second time, as you know, to impeach you on Tuesday. They didn't have the votes this past week. They accuse you of willfully not following the laws and therefore not securing the border and lying about having control of it. Mr. Secretary, these are serious allegations. How do you respond?
They're baseless allegations, Kristen, and that's why I really am not distracted by them and focused on the work of the Department of Homeland Security. I'm inspired every single day by the remarkable work that 260,000 men and women in our department perform on behalf of the American public. I've got a busy day today after the show, a busy day of work. I've got a busy day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on.
Let me just ask you, though, big picture. You have now been in your position for 3 years, and let's talk about what's happened during those 3 years. More migrants have crossed the border illegally last year than ever before. The asylum cases backlog has more than tripled since 2019. You yourself have said that more than 85% of migrants caught crossing the border illegally are being released into the U.S. as they await their court dates. Let's just put impeachment aside for a minute. Why do you deserve to keep your job, Mr. Secretary?
Kristen, the data that you cite is a powerful example of why we need legislation to fix what everyone agrees is a broken immigration system. And you take a snapshot of the data over the past 3 years. Let's take a look before the last 3 years. That case backlog, which is about 3 million cases, has been growing year over year over year. The time between when we encounter an individual at the border and the time of final adjudication of an asylum case has been years, 5 to 7 years, 4 years and years. I remember when I entered the Department of Homeland Security in 2009, we were wrestling with these very same issues. The system has not been fixed for 30 years. A bipartisan group of senators have now presented us with the tools and resources we need, bipartisan group, and yet Congress killed it before even reading it.
No doubt there is gridlock on Congress, but do you bear responsibility for what is happening at the border, what the president himself has called a crisis?
It certainly is a crisis, and we don't bear responsibility for a broken system, and we're doing a tremendous amount within that broken system. But fundamentally, Congress is the only one who can fix it.
The evidence of failure is undeniable. Mayorkas, in a rare moment of candor, admitted to the crisis, but swiftly shifted the blame to Congress. This attempt to sidestep responsibility highlights a troubling pattern of behavior within the current administration. When faced with failure, deflect and deny. It's a far cry from the leadership qualities necessary to address and resolve the complex issues facing our nation. The implications of this leadership failure extend far beyond the immediate crisis at the border. The unchecked flow of undocumented migrants into the country poses significant challenges to our law enforcement, healthcare, and educational systems. It's a multifaceted problem that requires decisive action and strategic thinking, qualities that have been absent from the current administration's approach. Enter the call for Trump 2024. The former president's policies aimed at securing our borders and enforcing immigration laws stand in stark contrast to the attitude of the Biden administration. Trump's commitment to the rule of law and order, coupled with his unwavering stance on national security, presents a beacon of hope for millions of Americans concerned about the direction of our country. The need for a leader who can effectively manage and resolve the crisis at our border has never been more evident. The case for impeaching Mayorkas is bolstered by his own admissions and the visible deterioration of our border security under his watch. His inability to articulate a coherent strategy for dealing with the crisis, combined with his refusal to acknowledge the role of the administration's policies in making this problem worse, is indicative of a profound failure of leadership. The security of our nation and our integrity of our immigration system are at stake, making the removal of Mayorkas not just a political necessity, but a moral imperative. The argument for a return to Trump's policies is not rooted in partisan politics, but in a pragmatic understanding of what works. The policies implemented during his tenure resulted in a significant reduction in illegal border crossings and enhanced the security of our nation. The contrast between then and now cannot be more stark. Under Trump, there was a clear acknowledgement of the sovereignty of our borders and a commitment to protecting them. This commitment is sorely lacking in the current administration, which seems more interested in political optics than in the welfare of the American people. The call for Trump's return to the White House is a call for a restoration of accountability, integrity, and strength. It's a call to prioritize the safety and security of American citizens over political expediency. As we look forward to the 2024 elections, the choice before us is clear. We can either continue down the path of decline, characterized by open borders and unchecked migration, or we can choose a leader who has proven capable of addressing the challenges that threaten our republic. Before our final thought, an important message from our very own Gary Franchi.
That's right. As the countdown to the 2024 election begins, the stakes have never been higher. The silent coup shines a light on the dark corners of political intrigue and the complicit media that obscures the truth. In these pivotal times, clarity is your weapon. Claim your copy and lead the charge towards transparency and integrity. The link to join this crucial moment is just below this video. Now back to you.
Thanks for that, Gary. Make sure you tap the link in the description to secure Gary's new ebook, The Silent Coup. And now for our final thought. As we close tonight's report, it's crucial to reflect on the essence of leadership and responsibility. The border crisis isn't just a policy failure. It's a glaring testament to the current administration's disregard for the rule of law and the well-being of American citizens. This isn't merely about politics. It's about the fundamental principles that underpin our republic. The choice for 2024 couldn't be clearer. We need a leader who understands the gravity of the situation, who respects the sanctity of our borders, and who is committed to the security of our nation. The return of Trump symbolizes more than a political shift. It represents a beacon of hope for restoring order, integrity, and prosperity. Let this be the call to action for every American who values their country, their security, and their future. Thank you for watching. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe and tell a friend.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.